Margaret had a therapy session today, and movement lesson is way harder than therapy. I have been thinking a lot today about why I pursued movement lesson, why I'm doing it, and had I had Margaret or Christina first and found movement lesson with them, I don't know if I would have pursued movement lesson, because I feel like and I know they would have had some progress with therapies, like they would have done well with that. The only reason why I pursued movement lesson with Julia, my first special needs child, was because she was so severe and therapy was already not an option, and so was the medical. It was not an option in the hospital. I had seen at 4 months old, she had tapped out of what they could offer her. Her condition didn't allow her to develop muscle, so therapy was out because, like, she wasn't going to get more muscle. She wasn't going to get stronger for anything. In the hospital, I mean, she was on life support, and I was pretty much told they couldn't do anything else with that. And I knew I just had to find something different. And so when I found movement lesson and found that, I could help my child breathe and she could experience development without any performances. I mean, I literally came into movement lesson not expecting a single milestone performance, not getting rolling over, tummy time. I'd never expecting walking, crawling, like those just were not even on my radar for goals, because my daughter did nothing. She didn't move. And as a result, though, like, I had nothing else. Movement lesson was my last hope, and it became my greatest hope. And so as I had Christina, and especially as I've had Margaret, like, even though they would have had success with therapy, like, I just didn't pursue those because I had something better. I had something that did so much more for them. Now, that being said, it requires a lot of work on my part. Like, I had to learn the modality. I had to learn the language, which at times is still hard, where I'm like, I have no idea what Michelle just said, but I know it's really important. I'll just put that in the back of my brain and keep trying to figure this out. Like the learning curve is hard. Because guess what? I'm not that isn't what I was pursuing in education. Like, I was pursuing art and music and things like that. And then motherhood, like, I just wanted to be a good mom. And now as Margaret is having therapy sessions come in, I'm just like, or therapy come into the house, I'm just like, therapy is way easier than movement lesson. Way easier. For one, someone else is doing it, so you're just kind of sitting there watching, and sometimes you're not watching. But for two, like, I mean, they're playing with the child. They can talk to you in an educated way, and they know about the body, and they say, this is what I'm doing, this is this. But watching therapy interact with my child, like, the interaction movement lesson gives my child is so much more successful. Now, that being said, unfortunately for parents, because that is the case, because therapies and other modalities are really easier to do, they will wait to do movement lesson. And for those who really, really pursue movement lesson, it's because they don't have any other options. Like, they've tapped out of therapy, they've tapped out of medical. And unfortunately for some parents, it's their child's having success with therapy. It's a couple of years down the road, then they come back to movement lesson because their child is tapped out. And then they're like, oh, I wish I would have started movement lesson sooner, because I'm seeing so much progress, more than I have in the last 2 years of therapy. Even though they may have seen progress, like, they don't see progress like they do with movement lesson. And if I could prevent one tragedy in your child's life, it's waiting to offer them true development. Like, That's what movement lesson is. It is true development. Even if you don't know what you're doing and you're not very good and you're not, like, that's the whole reason why we have the support program. It's giving your child the experiences of development from birth to walking. And then you just fortify those foundations so that it takes your child from the experience of walking to everything beyond. Even if they're never able to have those performances, what they get is more movement, more play, more independence, more function. Like, it gives them a future. And so, yes, therapy is way easier than movement lesson. And for so many, like, you're spending hours doing therapy. And if you took that same amount of time and applied movement lesson, the difference in progress that you would see is a night and day difference. It's not, like, you can't even compare it. And if you just need to try, take a seat of faith and be like, hey, I'm spending 3 hours a day doing therapy. Instead of doing therapy, I'm just going to see what it's like to do movement lesson for a week, 3 hours a day. The time that I would spend doing therapy, I'm just going to do movement lesson and try it. See what happens. Don't do anything else. And you judge for yourself. You judge for yourself what the fruits of that effort is. It requires your interaction with your child, which is becoming a lost art between parents and children. And so I want to invite you to try it. And if you see the results, get the Worried Parent Kit. Get in the support program and start giving your child the experiences of development from the beginning all the way through that 12-month mark and beyond. Thanks.